Yom Tov Tu B'Shvat, Rosh Hashanah Lilanas. It's taka very modern that on Rosh Hashanah, when Rosh Hashanah Lilanas, and how do we commemorate it? By eating peiros. And Shavuos, which is Rosh Hashanah Lepeiros Ilam, we put two trees in the shul to remember. So Punkt Faket. It should be the other way around. So perhaps since Adam made Sada, which is really a reminder for us, the main purpose of a tree is the fruits. And as a parent, you remember the main purpose of our purpose in this world is, our mission statement is to make sure that our fruits are ripe, that we put our keiches in, invest in our children, like that, and to your grandchildren. That's what the focus of Tu B'Shvat is. So we eat fruits. When it comes to Shavuos, there the children have to remember, the next generation remember that whatever they have, where it came from. And remember that it came from a tree, that, don't think that your own success, it comes from, it's all my own successes. Remember that there's a tree that put a lot of kaiches and effort to make you who you are. Anyway, let's continue now. Gemara Sanhedrin. So the last thing we learned was that a mayor holds that any arayas that the bezin would kill by a yid, that's what a goy is forbidden to. And any erva that you only get chorus, for example, incest, doesn't apply to a goy. So now on the very bottom of the page, Afnun Zayin on the base at the bottom. So the Gemara asks, the Savar Ameh, does Ameh hold that that only that those kind of arayas that a bezin will kill is a ben noach forbidden? So incest with his chorus, it's not forbidden to a goy. Let me ask you a question. With Tanya, we learned the following: gate, if you have a convert. Now the din is just quickly that when you convert, your geisha is guy kikot shenel dami, and the Baal Turim learns it out in the pasuk in Parshas Ki Seitzei. Anyway, so geisha guy, we have it all over Chas. Geisha guy, and everyone wants to know where the mucker is. So just telling you, the Baal Turim says that it comes from a pasuk. He plays around with a pasuk there, where it says clearly, forgot the pasuk already. Yosem Balmana, it says 3 times in the and one of the Sukkim, it says clearly that a ger is a yosem. Ger yosem Balmana. So ger, he puts a comma after the word yosem, but every ger is like a yosem, no parents, because ger is a guy cut you know them. But technically, he can marry his sister. He can marry his mother, because after they become a yid, they're not related anymore. But we have a concept with the Rabbanon. We don't want people to say that you went from a kedusha chamura to a kedusha kala, right? That you say before, as a goy, you were not permitted to do this, and now because you became as a yid, you could. So that means a goyim are more religious than yidden, and then also people will suspect that the reason why you converted in the first place is so that you can do things you couldn't do as a goy. We don't want that to happen. So. So we're saying over here that he was conceived as a goy, but born as a yid. He's still a ger. He's still a ger. The main thing is he wasn't. It's not talking about a yid now. We're talking about a ger. Surely, if he was conceived and born as a ger, he's a ger. So the leidasa bigdusha, he's born as a yid. So all of these we put into place takanos chachamim, like his mother and his sister. They all converted. So they're not related technically. But with Rabbanan, we don't want people should go around saying. So what isurim are there in place? Not all the arayas are usher. Only certain things we say that now that you're a yid, and even though technically you're not related, we don't want you to have a relationship because it looks like the Gemara is whatever was usher for a guy, you now as a yid cannot live with Rabbanan. But if it wasn't usher, if you would have been a guy, then nobody's going to accuse you of saying, oh, you went from a kedusha chamura to shakala, because as a guy you could have live with them. So let's see which ones they are. You would have thought it would say incest, for example. As a guy, if your maid holds incest is permitted, so now that he became a yid, he's allowed to marry his sister. Because there's no one's going to say you went from a kedusha chamura to kedusha kala, because as a guy also he could have lived with his sister. There's no arayas by his sister, because bezin doesn't kill someone; it's only chorus, right? That's what it should say. But let's see what this brisa says. According to this opinion, all the relatives that share a common mother, by goyim, there's no din of fatherhood. Everything goes to maternal. There's no paternal. So anything which is forbidden maternally as a goy, as a yid now, even though he's megayah, technically not related, if the relationship biologically is maternal, you cannot live with them after you became a yid. But if it's paternal, then you could live with them as a yid. If you're married, there's no problem. So Gemara says, yes, he has relatives of a mother in L'Sheirah, but not paternal ones. For example, if he married his sister, who share a common mother maternally, Yaitzi, can't live together. Because as a guy, it's forbidden. But if you only share a common father, you can live together. Achoisa of Minaim, the sister of your father, maternal sister of your father, then Yaitzi. Mina of, but paternal sister of your father, you can. Achoisa of Minaim, the sister of your father, maternal Yaitzi. So the point is maternal. It's only if a maternal relationship is forbidden. Even though this is incest, it's all forbidden. Okay, what's the news our mayor? Because the Chum hold that all our race are us. We'll soon see. Yeah, you can. Aim. What about a sister of the mother from the maternal? Again, Yaitzi. An aunt, a maternal aunt, Yaitzi. Aim mina of. So what about it's your mother's sister, but it's a paternal sister. So on the one hand, it's paternal. On the other hand, it's through your mother. What do we do here? Rameir says Yaitzi, which means Rameir agrees with everything we said till now, but this is where he argues. He says that since there's a mother involved there, Yaitzi cannot live together. And the Chachamim say you could live together. So Rameir call erva mishum shera aim Yaitzi. If it's a maternal, you have to go out. And here, since it's because of your mother, even though her sister is sharing only a common father, not a common mother, but because it goes through your mother, that's enough grounds already that people will, because we allow that. The next time you'll marry your mother's sister maternal, and then and so on and so forth. That's a meir. And share of you kind. And this will be a problem. Rameh is agreeing that incest is forbidden, at least maternal relationship. But Rameh said before that any error that Bezin will not kill for, there's no Isa by Goyim. Big problem. Anyhow, but you're allowed to live with your brother's wife after your brother dies. Or the wife of your uncle after, not part they're married obviously, but after they died, because there's no relations of if it's not a biological relationship, it's not also by a goy according to this opinion. All other rights are mutter to him. It's only a biological relationship is usher maternal. Last 3, what do you mean? Which is mutter? Eishes Aviv, his father's wife. As a goy, the father dies, it's mutter. Not like by Eden that it's usher. What happens as a goy? Nasa isha bita. As a goy, you married a mother and a daughter, and then you became a yid. Koines achas and you marry one and you divorce the other. Interesting, Rashi says v'chein b'shtei achoyes, which everyone wakes up. Knew how did same two sisters? You married them as a goy, and now you became a yid. All 3 of you became yidden. So you can live with one and drop the other, even though technically they're not related, but we don't want them. But actually adds that in, and then everybody goes to town and Yaakov and so on, or Amram and Yochebed. Now, even though we said a paternal relationship, biological relationship, is the Yekayim, but why do that? Doesn't look right. Doesn't look right. Meisa Ishta, if his wife dies, he's allowed to live with his mother-in-law. Again, mother-in-law's relationship through marriage, so therefore it's nothing. The Ikadam, that's one opinion. And others say Asr b'chamaisei. Others say that it's forbidden. It's forbidden your mother-in-law. We had what that's all about. So the Bam is Akasha. And Meir by us before said that incest is not forbidden for a goy because Bezin will not kill. And here the whole price is talking about only incest is Asr. How does that work? Oh, Rameir is not giving his own opinion. Rameir had a few rebbes. We had in the Saita, he had Rabbi Shmuel and he had Rabbi Kiva, right? The argument which is the first, which is the second rebbe. But we had another Gemara that Rabbi Lezer ben Hyrcanus was a teacher. So Rameir is bringing here 2 opinions. Sometimes Rameir says things named Rabbi Lezer, and sometimes Rameir must have been very young then, and sometimes Rameir said things in the name of Rabbi Kiva. And therefore, this Bryce Rameir is saying that incest is not the issue, it's going to Rabbi Kiva. And before that, we said this incest is going to Rabbi, as we'll see in Rabbi Lezer. Hard Rameir a little Rabbi Lezer, and Hard Rameir a little Rabbi Kiva. What Rabbi Lezer? What Rabbi Kiva? The Tan learned. The pasuk says, "Al Kain." Adam is told, "Al Kain Yazav Ishas Avivis Imay." Every person has to forsake his father and his mother. And then it says, "V'davak beishta." You should cleave to your wife, and v'hoyu levasarecha become one. So each one of these teaches us something. What does it mean? Can you S? Remember, every time it says S, it comes to add. So what's S aviv and S imay? What's we referring to here? So it says follow. And not only add it. What does it mean S aviv is imay? You should leave your father and leave your mother. What do you have to say that for? Just say David Gishta. What's our Cain? Yazib. So he dashes as follows. Rabbi Lezer says Aviv means Achais Aviv. What do you mean leave your father? Leave the sister of your father. No, you have no relationship with the sister of your father, which is the first opinion, the Bryce on top of the page. Incest. So this is the first Arayis that they were told. Imay means Achais Imay. The Gemara will soon explain how does you know that. Maybe means the father mamish, the mother mamish, like we had yesterday. Rabbi Kiva says no. You know what Aviv means? Eishes Aviv, the wife of the father. I know what Ima means? Imay mamish. You shouldn't have a relationship with your mother. You should have a relationship with your mother. So according to Rabbi Lezer, it's talking about sisters of your father and sisters of your mother. And according to Rabbi Kiva, father means Eishes Aviv and Ima means Ima mamish. Then it says V'dovak, you should become one. V'loy b'zocher. Because V'dovak means that they're both having anah. And a zocher doesn't have, by a zocher, the nishkiv is not the one who's having anah, so it's only the shaykh. Be'ishtay, his wife, so V'dovak be'ishtay, and not what? V'loy be'esh chaved, not a married woman. So these are the arayas that we're learning, the Adam Rishon was told from the beginning. Yeah. V'hoyu levasad echad, they should become one. Misha nasin basar echad, that you can conceive and have children. Yotze behema v'chaya, she'ein nasin basar echad. They don't become a basar echad. Now, interesting. The word is the way Rashi learns that one mean don't become basar echad because they cannot procreate. So why can't you learn mishka zocher from that as well? Why do you have to learn mishka zocher from the dovak? I don't know. Why do you have to learn from the dovak when you can learn from basar echad? If the word basar echad is, Rashi says, shalein yoldim. So, I don't know. Anyway, now we're going to analyze Rabbi Lezer Rabbi Kiva. We learned Rabbi Lezer says, Avi, what does Avi mean? Avi, the sister of your father. How do we know? Hey, Avi Mamish, maybe you shouldn't have homosexuality. No, because the next word is a dovak, and we learn from there the loy bezacha. So include your father as well. What do you need it for? And we're not going to say two aved. Remember, by a guy you get killed, so there's no point in saying, to give you two lavas like we had by Eid. If you did by mistake, you bring korban chatzas. By a guy, there's no shring is a mistake. Shagi makes it all the same. Okay, then it says, maybe like Rabbi Kiva says, maybe it means your father's wife. After your father, if the father's wife, it's a married woman. It already says, but be ishtai, your wife, and not someone else's wife. So we already know it can't be H's of it. Maybe it's talking about Achamisa. There's no H's of it. There's no H's anymore. And the Chiddush is that your father's wife eats like Vayid. Even after the father dies, you're not allowed to have a relation. Dumya de imay, just like your mother. The problem with living with your mother is not, it says, just like imay. The problem is not because she's married to your father. The problem is your mother. So the same thing with the Eishes Aviv. The problem is not because she's the wife of your father. The problem is that she is married. She was married to your father, so therefore she's us on her own. Even when she's on her own. So sorry. So the next moderator. There's talking about so you asked me maybe other means Eishes Aviv. So we're saying here that it can't be Eishes Aviv because if it's a married woman, it may be talking about after the husband died. No, we're talking about the Isa is mitzad herself. Imay, the Isa is mitzad herself. Same thing with this woman has to be mitzad herself. But if she's the wife of your father, then it's not because of herself. The aim, sorry. I just get sorry. Yeah, exactly. Not because of marriage. Yeah, so I'm just trying to. Sorry. Yeah, not because of marriage. With your sister. Then the next part of the pasuk says, "Ima, you decide. Ima milachayis, the sister, your mother. Maybe you're mamish. Maybe he's pushing not having a relationship with your mother. Your mother's no different than any other married woman. It's us. Is also your mother after misa. No, do me the aviv. Just like aviv does not mean the aviv himself. Ma aviv la mamish. We just prove it for aviv means achayis. Aviv doesn't mean aviv himself. So Ima, he's not talking about consorting with her directly. Something else. So it must be achayis imay, the lab mamish. That's Rabbi Lezer. So it's all about the sister of your father, sister of your mother. Incest. Rabbi Kiva says, no, aviv is not incest. Aviv means Eishes Aviv, the wife of your father. How do you know? Mama means with your father itself. I never done it with like we said before. If so, Eishes Aviv nami. If so, why do I need a person to tell me the wife of your father? She's like a married woman. We already know. We know already that what? We know already you can't live with a married woman. No, la'achar misa. It's talking about the pasuk. He's talking about after your father died, she still cannot live. The guy now live with his father's wife. Imai mamish. And then Abba Kiva said, Ima means consult with your mother directly. We already know that's a married woman. Which Gemara says, Imai, and you can't tell me someone after the father died. You already learned that before from Aviv. Aisha's Aviv after the father dies is also. Imai manu sasa. We're talking about, remember the third category, a woman who's not married to your father. She was raped, and that mother also lost it. Then you want to make him. So what's going on here? Why does Rabbi Lezer say it's talking about the sisters of the father and mother? And Kiva says it's from here. Rabbi Lezer saw about Aviv dumi the imay dumi Aviv. Lo mishkachas ela ba'achva. Remember, what Rabbi Kiva learned is Aviv means the wife of your father, and Ima means your mother directly. It's two different worlds. Yeah, so Aviv is one kind of a case, and Ima is a totally different kind of a case. He said, I believe that Aviv and Ima should be similar cases. Aviv is the sister of your father, then Ima is the sister of your mother. It's the same thing. You can find in the case of Achla. Now, but Kiva says you're right. I still rather, even though it's a little kvetching a little bit, I still rather learn. We're talking about the wife of the father, the ikri ervas aviv. The pasuk calls it, erva. This makes sense as the erva of your father. Lafuki achos aviv, the sister of your father, is not the erva of your father. The she'er aviv ikra, ervas aviv ikra. We're trying to learn Aroish and everything else. The sister of your father is not the erva of your father. It's the relation of your father. That's what's forbidden. Mashenkin, the wife of your father, it's an erva of your father. It's a disgrace to your father as well. So therefore, I think that class better. Toshma coming here. Amram took Yecheved, his aunt, my love, his father's sister, right? Causa's sister, share common mother. You just said that that's also to a goy. Now we're assuming amazing. So right now assuming they were going. But even as a ben noyach, they kept aroyas. And you're telling me that what's the aroy? The aroyas is achois imay, right? Incest. So how did Amram marry his aunt? Says the Gemara. Where's this place? Lloyd, the dasim of Yecheved and Kahas shared the same father, but they didn't Levi, but they did not have the same mother, different mothers. So therefore, as a ben noyach was an error. So it's clear the Gemara here learns that they're ben noyach and the machlekes. Toshma coming here. Avram said to Sora, tell Parai, Gamam to say, Achoisi bas avihi, that you are Achoi, my sister, and we share the same father. Because Parai said to him, you told me I'm my sister, and I see you living together. So by Avram saying that you're the sister and sharing the same father, that means it's not Arayas, because when is it usher only to share the same mother, which is Arayah to Rabbi Lezer. Before we ask the question, that was Arayah to Rabbi Lezer. That was Avram's excuse. That I didn't lie, talking to my sister, but we're allowed to live together, husband and wife, because we're paternal brothers and sisters. They don't have to say, but we're not maternal, so therefore we're allowed to live together. We see the incest forbidden as long as it's maternal. So you want to ask back, is it Achayis? What do you mean, sister? Is that true? Bas Achiv have it's a niece. The Kivan the Hachihu, and by a niece, what's the chilik? He says, tell them is Bas Aviv v'le Basimi. By a niece, you're allowed to marry. In fact, it's a mitzvah to marry Moribama. So what's going on here? Elohasam over there, Hachi Kamalei. Kurva the Achais Isli Bahadam Abba v'le. I'm just telling you a fact. I'm just telling you a fact that we're related as like a sister, a niece. It doesn't make a difference through my father's side. But the bottom line is we're not. It's not us for us to live together. No, I won't wait. Toshma, since Adam Rishon had daughters, there's nobody else around. Why didn't he marry his own daughter? I guess even though he had Chava, why didn't he marry his own daughter? Nachmed. I mean, when he was married to Chava. But because he and Chava didn't live for 130 years together after the Ma'aser Cain Hevel, and only then afterwards they got married again. So l'choida, why during that time, why did he marry his daughter? So in order that Kain should have someone to marry, and we need to create civilization. It says, I started off with chesed, interesting. And what's the chesed? That I allowed Kain to marry his sister. Normally you're not allowed to marry his sister, but I allowed Kain to marry his sister. Had it not been for the kindness of Hashem, Is this a kindness? I'll see that we asa. So the mother keep an ishtra. You're right. But once the Abish is matzah for Kayin, keep the hutter is mutter for everybody ready. So by Goyim, there was no, Kiva says, there was no Isser of incest. Not Rameir brings it out, Rabbi brings it out that incest was forbidden for Goyim. That was an exception, right? Chesed. So he said, no, that once the Abish is matzah for everybody. Who says, Kusi a Goy, every time it says about a Kusi on the side, it says it should be Goy. Every time. Mutter Bebitoi, a Goy is allowed to marry his daughter. Right, Rabuna says that incest is, but you follow Rabbi Kiva that it's not that incest is permitted, or you follow what Amir said named Rabbi Kiva. Incest is permitted. It's only what a bezin kills for. When you marry the kind of others say Rabuna Kusi also bebitay. Another one is that Kusi actually is also with his daughter. But take that Aishlan also on the bitay. He didn't marry his own daughter. Lohi. How so many times did she say Kain Zachoise? Kain should marry his sister. From the Olam Chesed Yibana. Amar of Chida says, Eved mutter be'imay. A slave is allowed to marry his own mother. Remember, a slave is a ger, and a ger there's no what do you call it? A ger does not have any relations, so he's allowed to marry his own mother. Umutter bebitay, and he's allowed to marry his daughter. Why? According to one opinion, a guy cannot marry his own daughter. Because an Eved is like in a state of flux. Yotze Miklau Kusi, he's no longer a guy because he went through the covenant process, but he was forced into it. So he's not, but he's not a full Ulchais or Leba. Kozman, he's an Eved, he's not a Yid. So what is he? It's a third category. He's not a guy and not a Yid. He has a halachic status like a woman, but since he's a male and doesn't want to fill in with that, so he's an interim period. Ki also Ravdimi came along. We had before for Ben Noach, for example, designates a shivcha for his Eved, and then a goy, and then he had relations with the shivcha, even though they're not really married. Nerigo gets killed because by him designating it to the Eved, it becomes like the Eved's wife. And Me'emas, Rav Nachman, when does it consider married? By an Eved is different than an ordinary free person. What we said before, Bula's Bal, they had intimacy. When it comes to an Eved and he gives her a shivcha, when are they technically considered married that the owner has any relations with her that he gets killed for it? So he says here, the plan. People start referring to her as the wife or the woman of this and this Eved. That's when people start saying that means it's his wife. Me'emas hatarasa. Fascinating. When do we say they're no longer married? So by a goy, by Yid, we say a get, a divorce. By a goy, the Rambam writes over there, as soon as she leaves the house permanently, she's considered divorced. What about by Nevid? Remember, the rules of Nevid are very different. So what about by Nevid? So he says here, she removes a wig. From here you see clearly that, as Rashi says over here, that everybody is to wear the head covered. When the Gemara talk about Sari Isha Erba and all that, because the Aruch HaShulchan says that today, because it's commonplace for most women do not cover the hair. Let's say all the goyim, they generally don't cover the hair. So it's no longer an erba to say Krishma. I'm saying in those days, everyone covered the hair. So you understand now why, davening in front of someone's exposed hair is called the erba, because no one covered the hair in erba. But the Aruch HaShulchan says that today it doesn't apply, because it's so commonplace to keep the head uncovered, even by all the goyim. Yeah, Aruch HaShulchan. Yeah, and the Ashram as well. Maybe as well, or Tichlach, or whatever they were. Remember, Rashi lived 900 some years ago. Aruch HaShulchan lived 150 years ago. So the world changed, culture changed. So why in Eved is different is nobody can say, he's downsized. He went from a Gdusha Chamura to a Gdusha Kalo because he didn't enter yet the nation of Israel. If Pesach has a discussion here what Loy Kedarka means. So Pesach Loy Kedarka does not mean like some people want to say that she's on top and he's on bottom, because that's what's a chiluk. It means to do it an unconventional way. Yeah, unconventional way. So Benoich Balisha Loy Kedarka Chayiv. He is Chayiv, Misa, on his own wife. Shenem says the Dovak, the only permission you have is to live the conventional way, the Loy Kedarka, and not the non-conventional way. Interesting. For a yid, it's not an aveda, and a guy you're going to kill for it. You can't do that. And Taisa says that even some places in the Gemara it sounds like that there's still nothing wrong with it. Other places in the Gemara it sounds like Taisa includes on a rare occasion, if it's unconventional, nothing wrong. But and if they do it habitually, it's not right for a yid either. So that's called Maisa Erba Oinen. Elam Rav says Rabbi Ben Noyach. This is what he meant to say. If you have commit adultery, but you did not do it in the conventional way, potter. Makes no difference if you commit adultery, you're chayiv. But by a ben noyach, if you did it in non-conventional way, you are potter. My timer, it says that and from there we learn out not commit adultery with a married woman, but only in v'davak, only if it's in a conventional way. V'davak lo shalei kedarka. If a guy hits a yid, chayiv misa. If a guy strikes a yid, you chayiv misa. Shenemer it says, Moshe Rabbeinu looked around, he saw the mitzvah hitting the yid, and he looked around, he killed the mitzvah. He killed the mitzvah. And what did the guy do already? All he did was he struck the yid. So from here you learn out that you're allowed to. The whole machlek is about a yid. If you hit another yid, how do we treat that as well? Is it considered like killing or not killing? Others say that over there, when you use the Shem of Moshe Rabbeinu didn't really, give a din of a bezin. It was more like a goyim because he used the name of Hashem to kill the mitzvah. Somebody smacks the cheek of a yid. He would smack the Eibishter. You smack another yid like you're smacking the Eibishter himself. And it says, Maikish Adam placing a stumbling block on a person, when he's saying it means striking, is Yila Kodesh. It's like you swallowed Kodesh. So we're touching as if you smacked Klayochel Shchinim. So if you lift your hand, before we talked about you struck your friend, now it's even worse. You lifted your hand in order to strike. In the last second, you resisted. Then hit him. Mikra Russia, you already considered Russia. It doesn't say why did you strike him, and why are you going to hit him? Even though you didn't hit him, Mikra Russia, you already called it Russia. Just the intention. You called a sinner. It says, if I didn't take you by force, and it says in the pasuk, but he chatas nurim and aring gedayla. We're talking about Eli's two children, that they were threatening these people if they don't give them, the best part of the animals and so on. They'll do all these kind of things. They didn't do anything, and yet it says chatas and nurim gedayla did terrible sins. What they do? No, a rasha is sort of a noun, a description of a person. Here we're saying more. He's saying he's actually committing an avera. It's not that your character is bad. You just commit an avera, just intending to do this. Ravuna, tikotz is the other. He should actually chop his hand off, like good old forms of punishment. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. It says, somebody raises his hand high to shove it, break it. In fact, Ravuna cuts the other. Avida wants taka paskin, then he cuts somebody's hand off. And we said before that a bezin sometimes has the right to mete out punishments if they feel it's necessary. Worse, chopping a hand is too easy. If you lift your hand, raise your hand to hit another yid, your end is going to be buried. And it says, somebody uses his hand, the earth is ready, waiting for you. I dash in the pasuk. Who really can own real estate? To own real estate in this wild west, you have to be a very strong armed person. Shenemer says because you have so many people coming to claim. First of all, you have to watch your fruits. You have ganovim, you have animals roaming, and you have people claiming the land is theirs. So you need to invest a lot in security and everything else, and you have headaches all the time. So therefore, you have to be a very thick-skinned person and strong-minded person, intrepid to buy property. The Amar says, that if somebody works the toil the land, you will be satisfied, you will be sated with food. If you work hard on your land, you will reap your dividends. If you don't work hard, you plant in the beginning of the season, you go away and go to sleep, and you come back 6 months later or 3 months later thinking that it will be there. You invest, you have dividends. You don't invest, you don't have any dividends. My father used to always say that once you were retired, now it's time to collect the dividends from all the years of investors, see how and get some nachas. That's what it is. And that's what Tu B'Shvat is all about. It's all about the fruits. We'll stop a veil tomorrow, Mitzvah.